Hello and welcome to another video. This is basically a continuation from my last video. I will be using the same kit, and so I am going to kind of just jump in part because I need to keep up with the video, which I fast forwarded through 3 times, and also because there wasn't a lot of intro with this. I filmed them both at the same time, and so when planning I really did just jump into the second week, and so that's what we're seeing here. And so like last week, I am going to start by making date covers from the glitter headers that came with the kit. And there were enough glitter headers that I could do this for both weeks. So I think that there were like 28 glitter headers because there were 7 of each color and there were 4 colors. And I used 2 on each day, so I used 14 a week. Wait a second, I used 2 on each day, so that was 14, yeah, so like 28. Though I had some extra, so there may have been 8 of each color. I don't remember, but there were enough that I could use 2 of each color, or 2 glitter headers each day for 2 weeks, and so I just went ahead and did that because I still wasn't feeling the date covers that came with the kit, so I just made my own. And like last week, I used 2 strips of glitter headers and then put on top of them a date dot from Planning with K and a day script sticker. Unfortunately, I can never remember the shop I get the day script stickers from, mostly because I can't pronounce it. I can kind of see it in my head what it should be more or less, but I can't pronounce it, so I can't say it here. Yeah, it's all the same stuff, and the kit is still from Pansy Prints, and I'm using basically the leftovers, what I didn't use last week. Some of it's strategic, so the full boxes I only used very deliberately, half of them last week. Other stuff are less deliberate, like the glitter headers. If I didn't have enough, I wouldn't have done the same style this week, but I did, and because I just coincidentally happened to have enough of those. And for this week, there's going to be a lot less going on, I think, than most weeks, because I am planning this week really far out in advance, because usually I plan the Saturday before the week starts, but this week, I plan for next week, which is the week before the one you're looking at right now, and then at the same time I planned for this week because at the end of the next week I will be at my boyfriend's house and without my regular filming space or any of the like materials I use most of the time, and so rather than try to lug everything with me to his house, I just decided to film both of these videos at the same time. So here I'm struggling to get the washi down to a size that makes sense. I don't want it to completely cover the top because I don't want the spread to feel too clunky or crowded or busy. And so I'm struggling to cut it down to size, but I am getting there. And this week I do use the washi that came with the kit. I really love the pink in it. It's kind of a magenta, I guess, a reddish pink. And I do really love the colors in that bottom washi, and so even though I didn't use it last week, I did want to use it sometime, and so I choose to use it this week, and I'm cutting it down to size. I'm really making quite the mess out of it, but I do finally get it together. And I think I accidentally cut through to my planner during one of these little cuts. I can't remember which one, but I wasn't quite careful enough. But a little cut at the very top of my planner doesn't really affect it at all, so it wasn't a big deal. Yeah, and so this week is strange because I am planning it so far in advance, and so though I know the things that typically happen in a week, I don't really know very much about what else might happen, and so that's going to kind of affect how things go. I have laid down one full box already, and here I'm just using the other 2 decorative flags that came with the kit. There were 4 total. I used 2 of them last week, and I'm putting down the other 2 here. So that one had a really cute pumpkin on it, and I'm whitening out the flags here because the flags that came in the kit are almost exactly the same size, which means that if I'm off at all, you can see just a smidgen of the color underneath, and I didn't like that. So rather than worry about it, I just white it out and ignore it completely. And here I'm struggling with the weekend banner. I do want to use it, but I don't know how I want to use it. And so what I've decided to do right now is try to frame it with a strip of washi that I'm cutting down so that it will stretch across all two boxes of the weekend. And it comes out okay, I think. I don't know why this was so hard for me to put together, but I did struggle quite a bit. Ultimately, I do get that weekend banner down, and I do like how it came out. I did not realize when doing this, however, that it does take up some space. And so it messes with my weekend a bit because it takes up more space than I'm used to allocating, especially because I choose to put this full box down on Saturday. Everything would have been fine if I didn't put the full box on Saturday, but I did, so you'll see me struggle again later. But I also put this full box here on Monday, and choosing to use this kit was interesting because I wanted to use only half a kit for each week just because I don't need all those stickers. And there are so many that come in a kit, and I really want to get the most out of each kit that I purchase, even if printable kits are very cheap because you print and cut them yourself. I still want to, maximize what I'm getting because I don't want to spend too much money on stickers and stuff. And so I wanted to use this kit twice, but I couldn't use it. I wanted to use it Thanksgiving week because it is pretty Thanksgiving themed, and I didn't use it the week before Thanksgiving because that was the week that Crimes of Grindelwald released, and I really wanted to use a particular kit for that. And so I had to use it the week of Thanksgiving, and now I'm using it the week after Thanksgiving, which is a little strange because Thanksgiving is over right now, but I'm using it anyway because I figured it could still be pretty fall themed, and there are only 2 days of December in this week, so it's not yet quite Christmas yet. And so I think it works out. And I tried to put most of the things that were really Thanksgiving in the last week, where you see things that say like give thanks. This is where I'm struggling because I need space for a checklist, but also, as you can see, the time tracker doesn't quite fit, and so that space in between my full box on Saturday and the time tracker on Saturday isn't enough to have a checklist there. And so I'm struggling to figure out what to do with that space and how to make it work. I eventually decide that if I cut down a flag, I can put it on top of the full box, and so the space in between is just for writing. None of it is taken up by the actual checklist itself, which is mostly decorative. And that full box was also it was just a pattern of like pumpkins, so putting that checklist on top of it didn't really disrupt it very much. And so the only thing on this spread right now that is very much like Thanksgiving in your face is that the Monday full box does say give thanks on it, and I considered covering it with something. I don't know if I did. I want to check. Oh yeah, so later I do cover that up because I don't want this to be too Thanksgiving-y because Thanksgiving has ended. So now I'm laying down checklists. This week, I don't really know about specifics that are happening, but I am back in class this week, which means that my schedule and my layout can resume being the one that I typically use when I have class, which involves having time trackers for every day, a good sized checklist for every day, and I just have a better idea that like certain assignments are going to be due on certain days, and I don't write it, but I do have like a planetarium show scheduled on Thursday, so that's something else that I know I'm having to do this week. And other things may come up. I know that during this week at some point I will have to schedule a meeting with my independent study advisor and things like that. So I'm flipping back to see what I did for the notes section and how I structured that, because I did do it very differently last week because I wasn't going to be at home to do most of the habits I typically do. And so here I'm experimenting again. I have 6 weekly habits, and I've decided to use 2 little strips or 2 small ombre heart checklists to put those habits in, because usually I've been putting a double box in my little note section, and that takes up a lot of the space, but I only put 1 full box here this week, which means that I had a bit of extra space to kind of play around. And so that's what you see here. I have like half of it taken up by my habits. That heart checklist, kind of the brown heart checklist, is there just for any weekly goals or notes that come up. And then to fill in some more space and use a bit more of the kit, I just kind of fill in the top with some washi from the kit, and it wasn't the right size, and I spent some time trimming it down. And I used an important header to mark those weekly habits because I thought that they were important, so I would just use that. There wasn't another like appropriate header, and that was kind of the closest thing to what I needed it to say. And I don't know what I'm about to do, but I guess we're going to see. Yeah, and so I really like this voiceover format because it lets me keep things pretty simple. We're more than halfway through right now, and oh, this is when I put down the pumpkin on top of give thanks to kind of, again, make it not quite so Thanksgiving-y. And I'm just laying down some random deco right now. But as I was saying, I like this voiceover format because it does let me keep my videos shorter, and I think that that is helpful, and it also lets me plan just however I want to, and I don't feel rushed while planning. So I think I will probably keep doing this. The voiceover also doesn't take as long to do as I thought it would, not when my computer is working with me. And so yeah, we're just going to, I think I'm going to keep the voiceover style for a little while longer. I hope to get better at it. It is a little hard for me because I have to like talk in time with this video that I have sped up. But again, for the most part, when I'm just laying down random stickers, I can say I'm laying down that sticker, and then there's like a lot of time still for me to fill in with other ramblings. Here I'm putting in quarter boxes under the date covers for random events, and the other half of that space is for weather tracking. I ran out of quarter boxes, so I used these full boxes, half of which I will devote to some event or task for that day, the other half of which I will use to continue to track my weather. I decided to track my weather because I have weather icons in my shop, which is currently closed. I'm trying to decide what I want to do with that, but I did design weather icons and I really like them. I think they're really cute and I want to use them more. So I decided to track my weather. Here I'm laying down some corners to just kind of decorate that space because I don't really know what I'm going to do with it right now. So it just takes up some space, adds some more decoration. I do the same thing on Sunday. And yeah, so this week will get really busy. It's so far out that there isn't a lot going on, but this is the second to last week of class, I believe. So things are due. I have a lot of projects, mostly research projects that are coming up, and I haven't written or started doing nearly enough on those, so I will be quite busy this week. But right now things look pretty sparse because of how far out we are. And I ended up using so many of these date dots from Planning with Kay these 2 weeks. I kept up the same theme and the same color, that I'm really looking forward to her Black Friday sale because I think I will pick up some more. I like how big the numbers are here because it really lets the dates stand out, whereas a lot of the date dots that are typical for an Erin Condren kind of planner are pretty small. And the one thing I like about the typical Erin Condren style before you do the date cover is how big the numbers are. I don't know why I enjoy having large numbers, but I do. And so there I was flipping back to see what my weekly habits were because I hadn't written them in for a while, and when this starts I won't have done them for a while. And so I had to go back to reference what those were, and now I'm able to fill them in, and we are wrapping things up. So I think, yeah, So I'm going to kind of just show you guys what the layout looks like. It looks pretty blank, but it will fill in with time. If you've liked what you've seen, definitely let me know. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.